Hello everyone, this is More Games and welcome back to another video on this very fine channel. Today it's some more F1 2021. Today's video is on my very own league, Electric Racing Arena. This is going to be round 3 of season 1. This is the Russian Grand Prix. Now we've qualified P10 on the grid as there was a sprint race before. That was how the qualifying was decided, and I may have spun once or twice, but don't worry about that because we're looking at the race. So it's going to be a medium soft strategy as everyone has a free choice of tyre. Now we have 5 red lights. They're gone, away we go. What kind of start can we get off of the grid? It actually looks like a good one up against Dex in the Haas, but not using too much of the overtake button, letting a couple of people overtake us. Now we're going to go 3 wide into the first chicane. Surely this cannot work, and we get sandwiched by the Aston Martin, which spins around and hits the Ferrari, and we get hit in the back, and there's a bit of wheel spin, and we spin a little, and the virtual safety cars are now out. So that was a pretty chaotic turn 1 as we made a bit of contact and was sandwiched by the Aston and the Ferrari in turn 1. So that was quite difficult, and this VSC is now ending and we're under a bit of pressure from Zayek. It actually looks like he's going to go down the inside into this next turn. Can he make it work? No, we're going to stick it around the outside, and that's a good defense. And now what can we do up against OMT in that Ferrari? Can we go? Oh, it looks like we're actually going to go down the inside and now around the outside for this next turn, but we get the big squeeze, and it looks like OMT is actually going to pull into the pit lane now. He might have gotten wing damage on lap 1. So we are now up into P11 in this Russian Grand Prix. It looks like Norwich Van and Chronic have actually collided together, and we've somehow gotten an illegal overtake on Chronic. So Norwich Van, who is one of the main contenders in this league, is now out, and we've had to give that position back to Chronic. So there's a lot happening in this very chaotic couple of first laps, and it's not over yet. So we are now behind Chronic, and we're going to need to make a move on him soon enough, as it looks like he actually slows down on the apex there. So we're just going to go around the outside, which turns to the inside for the next right-hander, and that is now P9 for us on the medium compound of tyre, which is very good. Up next is Izzy Yoke in P8 in that AlphaTauri. What can we do up against Izzy Yoke? And it looks like Cyborg has actually gotten quite a bad exit in that Williams, and it's compromised Zayek's line. He is trying to go down the inside of Izzy Yoke, but it looks like Izzy Yoke has the better traction and is going to stick it around the outside. Can we get a good run on Zayek? We have a lot of ERS to play with here, and we're using a bit of it, but we decide to back off as it looks like Zayek is actually using a lot of overtake to try and overtake Izzy Yoke. Going down into turn 1, can you make the move work? And no, he's a bit too far back as Cyborg actually makes a bit of contact with Izzy Yoke there, and that's really put Izzy Yoke offline. What can Zayek do coming into this turn? Is he going to do anything? He actually goes a bit wide, and coming into this turn, he has a bit of a dodgy line. He goes very wide into this one, and we're just going to swoop up the inside into this next turn. Can we make the move stick? The answer is yes, we can, or maybe we can't, as Zayek is actually holding it all the way around the outside with those soft compound of tyres. Coming into this turn, we decide to back off as we don't want to make contact into that turn because that could ruin our race completely. So the DRS is now enabled on lap 3. What can we do on this DRS straight? Let's hopefully look for a move on Zayek. We could go down the inside into this turn. It looks like Zayek is actually under 10% ERS, and we have a lot to play with, and the DRS as well, and it looks like we're actually going to go around the outside into this next turn, and Cyborg and Izzy Yoke also going side by side, and it looks like we actually have to make a little bit of a correction as Zayek forces us wide a bit, and Zayek has now gone wide there and gotten a 3-second penalty as he gets up on the sausage curb and actually has a bit of a half spin there, which has really put him offline. And we had a little look up the inside, but we are obviously way too far back for a move like that. So we now have the DRS on the straight. Are we going to be looking for a move? Because we actually get a very good run on Zayek, who has a bad line into that last turn. We have the DRS, and we have as much ERS as we want to use. And coming into this first turn, what can we do? We are going to go around the outside into turn 1. Can we make the move stick? The answer is no, as we get the big squeeze from Zayek, and I actually backed off there as I didn't want to make contact. So moving on with the lap on lap 4, Cyborg is actually going defending the inside, and that's really put him offline, which has really slowed down Zayek. So we are actually just going to go down the inside of Zayek, and we are actually going to go around the outside into this next right-hander. We make the move stick. So what can we do on sideboard, who has no DRS? Could this be a double overtake in the mere amount of just 3 corners? The answer is yes, maybe, as we go down the inside into this next turn, and it looks like we are going to make the move sticks. He tries to hold it around the outside, which then turns to the inside for this next left-hander, but we have kept the position, and we are now P7 in this Russian Grand Prix. And moving on 2 laps later, we've been trying to push to catch up to Izzyok, and we have finally caught up to Izzyok again, and it looks like we are going to have the DRS on him, whereas he is not, and we still have a lot of DRS. We still have 60%, whereas he only has less than 10% with his red light flashing. What is he going to do? He's going to defend the inside. He's very defensive, and it looks like we have completely missed our breaking point there, and obviously I have to give the position back for that one, as that was a very unfair move, as I couldn't see the breaking point, so I just completely missed it. But I can confirm, as I handed the position back, that penalty was removed, so we are still playing with 0 seconds of time penalties. So, moving on to the very next lap, are we going to make the same move again? Yes, we are going to go to the inside. Do we miss our breaking point? The answer is no. We are going to go down the inside into this next turn, and that is P6 in this Russian Grand Prix. So, making the move stick this time, instead of missing our breaking point as we did on last lap. And 2 laps later, it's now lap 9. And as you can see, there's yellow flags up ahead, and it looks like Dex in the Haas has actually spun around on the exit of that turn, and that is going to be another position for us. So sad to see from Dex, but good for us, as we're now up into P5. We've caught up to Coulter another 2 laps later, and it looks like him and Samuel Beach have been battling away, and it doesn't look like he has the best run, as his tyres might be a bit more worn than mine at this stage of the Grand Prix, as we are 11 laps in. He's on the softs, and he's actually quite slow on that corner. Another person who's quite slow on that corner, and we're just going to go down the inside into that turn. That is now P4, and it looks like Samuel Beach is going to be our very next target. As you can see, we are right up against him at the very end of this lap, or coming towards the end of this lap. We have the DRS, he does not. What are we going to do, outside or inside? It looks like we're going to put the inside. Another man who's defending the inside quite heavily, but it looks like we are going to hit our breaking point this time, and we are going to keep the position. But it actually looks like Samuel Beach has gotten a great run out of that left-hander, and he tries to make the move work on us, but with that big sausage curb in the way, he has a little bit of a half spin, which is saved by us being in the way. He has a little look down the inside, but he is much too far back for that move. So we are now in P2 in this race. That's a great recovery from P10. And as you can see, coming on to lap 13, at the very end of lap 13, the safety car has been deployed, as Zayek has actually retired from the race. Now this is perfect for all of the medium compound tyre runners, as you can see, we are coming into the pit lane now for some softs, which will make it to the end of the Grand Prix. So we are now going to the end of the Grand Prix on these softs, and this strategy has worked out perfectly for us. So we are now in P2, and as we're in the safety car, you can see that we made the slightest bit of contact, the tiniest tap, and we have actually gotten a 5-second time penalty, which is a bit harsh in my opinion, but I can confirm that is another penalty I got removed, as the stewards deemed it unfair, as it was the tiniest bit of contact. So now it looks like it's going to be the safety car restart. What can we do up against Milan Zagers? It looks like our rear tires are very cold, so we have to get on the power very late, and Milan Zagers has actually gotten an 8/10 gap on us already, so that is a big gap to get off of the safety car restart. So he's obviously practiced these a lot, and is much better than us on these restarts, as our tires were quite cold. We are under a little pressure from literally Siggins, but he's not going to make the move into turn 1. Moving on to the next lap, you can see we've been pushing very hard. We set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix with a 33.9. So we are pushing as hard as we can to catch up to Milan Zagers, and as we move onto lap 19, we are going to go around the outside of Milan Zagers. Can we make the move work? Yes, we can. We just sail around the outside, and we make the move stick, and we are now in P1 with 0 seconds of time penalties, as I got both of mine removed. So this is a net P1, and as you can see, we've been pushing very hard, and we've actually spun on that left-hander, and that is going to lose us a lot of time to Milan Zagers. We were pushing very hard to try and break the DRS, and we have lost 3.4 seconds in the process with that spin. So we have to push really hard if we want to make this, if we want to get the win in this Grand Prix, and it's really time to push now. And as you can see, moving on to the next lap, we've caught him by quite a few tenths, and
We're starting to catch the car in front.
and that's all I needed. Jeff saying we are catching, and we've caught up to 8 tenths in just 2 laps. And actually coming into this turn 1, on the very same lap we've got 8 tenths, the safety car has been deployed. K1Zar has retired from the session, and this has saved our race. Now we can catch up to Milan Zegers, and skipping to the end of the safety car now, we are right behind Milan Zegers, and it is going to be 2 laps to prove who can be the winner in this Russian Grand Prix. It's a head-to-head battle between me and Milan Zegers. What can we do? So, coming off the safety car restart, is he going to do it as well as he did before? And yes, he is, because our tyres are once again 76 degrees on the right rear. And he gets a great restart, but it's only 6 tenths this time instead of 8. We are under a good bit of pressure from Mitri Siggins, having to use a lot of the ERS on this main straight. We are only at 30% ERS, so we do not have a lot to play with. And moving on to the final lap of the Grand Prix, I've been pushing very hard to try and catch Milan Zegers, and we just haven't had an opportunity yet as there's no DRS. So coming into these final 2 turns, what can we do? It looks like we are going to try go down the inside into these last 2 turns. Boiler Race wins. It looks like it did not work as that sausage curb has really messed us up. Dex has actually overtaken us onto the last 2 turns, and that is going to be P5 with our penalties. But I can confirm that I did get those penalties removed, and we got P2 in that race. So if you did enjoy this video, make sure to like the video, subscribe for loads of content on this channel. I'm going to be pumping it out, and this is More Games saying see ya.